Another chapter of Berserk, and another hiatus announcement. It makes me sad to know I gotta give Berserk another farewell for a good long while, because apparently Berserk won't be coming back until 2017. So this is the final chapter review of Berserk for 2016, which makes me sad. It really makes me sad. I mean, we knew it was probably going to happen eventually. It usually happens with Berserk. It just makes me sad to know that literally I have to say farewell once again to such a wonderful series that I love talking about. As I've stated many times in the past, it's literally my favorite manga series I've ever read. And just knowing I have to say goodbye again, it irks me. It really does. But I mean, if I have to wait for glorious content, I'm fine with that. I mean, I'd rather wait a year and a half for something very good than get something weekly basis that's just absolute shit. So, when it comes to Berserk, I guess it is worth the wait, because usually Kentaro does a very good job with his chapters. There's a lot of good content in it, so personally, I'm not disappointed. And with the latest chapters we got of Berserk, it has had a lot of good content, a lot of reveals, awesome world building. I mean, personally, I'm satisfied with the chapters we got, and so, I guess it's a good thing, I guess. I mean, probably Kentaro is going on break. He's probably going to think of what direction he should take this, I guess, flashback to character development arc with Casca, which I think I'm fine with. I'm completely fine with. So let's kind of get into it, though. What we're getting into right now for Berserk is something major. Very, very, very crucial. And this is Casca's character development and acceptance arc. That's pretty much what we're getting into. And what does this necessarily mean? Well, one of the big goals of Berserk has always been to fix Casca. For instance, bring her back. Bring back the sanity. For instance, allow her to be what she once was in the past. And one of the biggest questions that have been over our heads throughout the entirety of this arc and this journey to heal Casca is, does Casca want to be saved? Does Casca want to be healed? Does Casca want those memories back? That is the question we've all been asking. And one of the big things I said in my last couple of reviews is, if Casca finally does, let's say, accept what happened in the past and she finally returns to being sane once again, what's stopping her from having so much grief that she wants to kill herself? I mean, this is Berserk, and something like that definitely could happen. So, I mean, there's just a lot of variables that could happen with the direction of Casca, and what we're getting into right now is going to be a very, very dark part of the series, because we're going headfirst right into Casca's mind and her inner soul, and what makes her her. Not just her crazy little, broken self that we see throughout majority of Berserk nowadays, but we're going back to the Casca in the Golden Age era, and also in the Eclipse era. We get to see Casca and get to see how she was, her core being. And we're going into this darker part of her, to where she has to accept what has happened to everyone, all of her friends, her family, Guts, Griffith. She's going to have to confront this and go straight headfirst into it, and that's exactly what this is about. Casca's acceptance of the past. See, what did Casca do? Why is this a big thing? Well, Casca, as we know, when Griffith did what he did to her, raped her, and then also, after everybody was killed in the Eclipse, Casca broke down. She literally shut herself off, and she turned into a newborn baby. She didn't want to actually accept anything that happened, so to protect her own sanity, to protect her mind, protect her own soul, she shut everything off and did not want to think about anything else. So she kind of reverted to being a child. And because of this, it's like Casca just trying to protect herself. That's the whole reason to why she acts like she does. And now that we have it to where Guts has been trying to fix her, and now that Fornice and Shirake are going inside of her mind and been diving into her soul, they're going to get to see the horrors that Casca had to go through, what she had to deal with, and why she shut herself off to begin with. And this is going to be something very dark, because there is still a likely possibility, since they have to go into the inner dark depths of Casca's soul to see what she's been through, there's still a likely possibility that she might not want to accept what happens. It will stay like she is. And I mean, you have to factor all the different details we got. I mean, this is Casca's inner self, her world. For instance, even though she's a part of the astral planes, she still controls the rules rules that are inside of her body. So whatever's going on in the world inside of her dream, she controls that. Even though she's in the astral layers and planes and stuff, she still controls that world. So there's a lot of different variables that can happen that when Farnese and Shirake tried to make Casca realize what is going on. And so there's going to be a lot of darkness, and Casca is going to have to pretty much share all this darkness with Farnese and Shirake and let them know what is going on. Because, I mean, look, they're diving headfirst into what happened in the eclipse. And so Farnese and Shirake, they might get extremely fucked up in the mind after realizing what Guts and Casca went through in the past. Because one of the big things about Berserk in Guts traveling with everyone, he's never really told everyone about his past. I mean, there's been brief hints, setups, and stuff like this. Some of the characters know kind of the backstory of Guts, but they don't know the full thing. And because of this, they don't know exactly what happened with Guts and Griffith or the Eclipse. They have really no idea the entirety of that story. And so with Farnese and Shirake going inside of Casca's mind to actually see what's going to happen, they're going to get to see what Guts went through. And what Guts has had to do, and also what Guts did to Casca after the Eclipse. Remember, one of the big things after the Eclipse was one of the worst parts about Guts. For instance, when he was at his lowest, this man attacked Casca. And it made it to where Casca and her new broken self, she was scared and she feared Guts. She hated him because the way he was, the way he acted. And Guts realized this. He realized he could no longer handle Casca by himself. It wasn't possible for him to do that. And then eventually he managed to gain friends and people around him that could help him out with his problems, because he could not be the one to really take care of Casca after what happened earlier on in the series. So because of this, he can't be the one to dive into Casca's mind and bring her back. So this is up to Shirake and Farnese to actually handle this. And they're going to get to see this darkness that Guts went through at the time. They're going to get to see all these different things that Guts had to do by himself with Casca. And also what Casca went through, their relationship, all of this. They're going to get to see this. And there is a likely possibility, since this is a part of the astral layer, and also since, Casca governs the entirety of the rules of this, entire plane inside of her mind, that there is a likely possibility that Farnese and Shirake could have their mind completely fucked up. There is that possibility on the table that they might get so fucked up that they literally might become another Casca. Like, they'll literally become into baby form. Like, they just don't want to accept it, and they break down. That is probably the risk that they're going to have to take when they try to bring Casca back. And so, it kind of sucks that they're kind of unaware of what they're getting into. I mean, since they are, witches, and so they kind of are used to the astral layer and planes and stuff and these forces, I guess they're kind of used to these dark forces trying to invade their mind or take them over or whatever. But the main point is that they're going to get to see the darkest stuff that's happened in the series. And I wonder how they're going to view Guts once all this is said and done. Like, let's say they get out, okay? Shirake, Farnese, and all that, and even Casca, Casca comes out. Or even if she doesn't, okay? She doesn't revert back to how she once was. Imagine how they're going to look at Guts now. Like, you got to factor in, like, all the evil he's went through, like all this stuff that's happened to him, what Griffith did to him, his entire motive, his declaration for war to kill Griffith, how he's given up that, goal to help out Casca. I mean, there's just so many things here, and now when they probably see this, they're going to probably look at Guts way differently than they ever did, and I wonder how this is going to complicate the relationship between Farnese and Guts, because as we know, Farnese has something going on with Guts. I mean, she does kind of have these feelings for him. You could definitely tell throughout the journey of, Berserk, and since she's going to be able to see what happened in the past, she's obviously going to get to see the connection between Guts and Casca, their relationship and how they used to love each other, and probably, their child as well. She's going to get to see that, and when she realizes this, I wonder how that's going to complicate the relationship between these two characters, and also how she's going to look at Casca after everything is said and done. And then on top of that, we have to factor in how, Shirake, she's gonna look at Guts now after everything. I mean, after realizing what he's done too to Casca and all the shit he had to go through with, Griffith as well. It's probably gonna make everybody sad in the group and realize, holy shit, this man, I don't know how he's still sane after all the shit he's went through. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to the, the upcoming Casca acceptance arc, or her denying, I guess what's going on or whatever, but whatever's going to happen, it's going to be rather interesting, and probably going to be one of the darkest arcs in a good long while for Berserk, which I am completely fine with. As I've stated in my recent reviews of Berserk, we should be happy that the series has been kind of jolly, happiness every so often, because Berserk is a type of series that when it gets dark, it gets dark. Like, it straight up gets dark. Like, shit smears all over the fan. It gets dark. And what we're getting into now is going to be a dark arc. It really is. And there's going to be a lot of changes. I see a lot of character development happening in this arc for a lot of characters, especially with this. So, we'll have to see where that goes. Now, getting off of that, let's talk about the overall, I guess, dream sequence with Farnese. So, the dream that Farnese was having, it had a little bit of symbolism, and I really appreciated that, the way that was done. I decided to look into it and all that, because I saw, you know, Mozgus of how his face was being used to wash clothing and guts and stuff like that, and I'm like, yo, this is just fucking hilarious. This man Mozgus is being used as a washing stone, or stone washing. I'm like, this is just weird as hell. And I decided to look into, you know, stone washing, washing stones and stuff like that, and I came to realize that apparently stone washing is used to make clothing that is brand new rougher or old, like, you know, age it a little bit, or make it to where there's rough, like, you know, fabric, and make it softer. That's kind of what stone washing is for. And so I was looking at, you know, the dream sequence of Farnese. I'm like, okay, so what could this mean? What type of symbolic meaning could this have? Because there's just way too much emphasis on clothing and some of these, like, panels in the chapter that I felt like it had to mean something. There had to be some form of meaning in this, because this is fucking Berserk. It has to have some meaning. So I decided to look into stone washing, and I'm like, yo, so apparently things that have rough surfaces or brand new or whatever, they get used up against a stone, like a good stone, and it's washed up against it, and it becomes softer over time. And I was looking at the chapter, I'm like, oh crap, I mean, look at everything, okay? You see how a bunch of, you know, different characters are kind of being represented as clothing, and they're being washed. My first interpretation of it was that they were being washed of their sins, or Farnese was washing herself of sin, and she was trying to become a better person, or help out others. But then on top of that, you see Guts. When Guts finally pops up and she's trying to wash him, and you see it to how, like, when she's washing him, the teeth on his, you know, helmet was actually breaking Mozgus, you know, the stone washing, or the washing stone, breaking him. And then I went back to the summary of the stone washing. I'm like, oh crap, so things that are usually rough or hard or rigid are things that are used with stone washing to make it softer. So since that was Guts technically as the clothing that was breaking the stone, it was like saying, this man is hard as stone, he is rough, he has like this rough exterior, and he needs to be softened up. And that's kind of what Farnese is trying to do. She's trying to make it where Guts, even though he has this hard outer edge, he has a very soft heart inside, and she's trying to get to that and make him a kinder person. And we've gotten to see this multiple times throughout the journey of Berserk, where Guts, he has this personality on the outside to where he's someone that you just shouldn't get around, or, you know, someone that's just not friendly. That's kind of the first interpretation, or, you know, the way you can view Guts when you see his character. But then, over time, you see that this man, he's just misunderstood. He has this very nice personality, he's kind, he's gentle, even though he seems like a berserker that would just rip your head off, he is someone that truly cares and can love. And that's kind of what Farnese was showcasing, and what Kentaro was trying to symbolize in that Farnese is trying to help out Guts, remove that rough exterior, and allow him to release his softer side. And that's what she was trying to do, trying to make the, you know, armor, which was Guts, into a softer surface. And then you see it to how it laid over and it was starting to dry, how his sword was, you know, kind of like just limp, and how his clothing also was wet and drying and kind of looking like it was a lot softer. So I like that symbolic meaning right there. That was a very good job with the stone washing and stuff. I also learned something about stone washing. I was completely unaware of what stone washing was. I've heard about it in the past, but I definitely learned something after, you know, looking it up. So, you know, a couple points for Kentaro for making me learn something just like I usually would learn something from Tokyo Ghoul. Now, let's get into the entire aspect of what was going on with Puck and all of that. So, Puck, as we know, there's been this little side plot going on for a while now where Puck was, you know, going to kind of betray the kingdom and all that. He was going to become the ruler, stuff like this. And pretty much all of it was settled at the end of the day of this chapter. Everything was settled, everything ended on a good note, and it wasn't necessarily anything bad. So, it seems like, you know, the Flower Storm King is actually a very merciful ruler. And I really like that, because it shows you what type of personality this ruler has. Even though it's like the Elven Queen, like ruler of all of this entire place, she's very compassionate, she has a lot of mercy, she does care, because she could have easily have done something rather evil or something mean to really punish Puck and everyone else, but she didn't do that. She was actually someone that was being very nice, but I'm willing to bet you, even though she seems to be nice on the outside, I want to bet she has probably a rougher and eviler side to her. Like, not evil, like, you know, a demon or something. I'm saying she probably has a side to her that literally can get serious and probably kick some fucking ass if you push her buttons too far. She seems like that type of character, judging by the way her personality was shown. She's kind and gentle to the people she loves, but when you piss her off or you do something that's really bad, she seems to be someone that will literally break over that line and just kill everyone in sight. She seems like that type of character that would literally go that far for her people, because of what she does for everyone. I mean, she literally takes time out of her day to clean up everything around the kingdom, help out the villager, help out the old people. She seems someone that's very kind, someone that loves to get to know her people, and so if you were to harm her people, she seems like one of those people that wouldn't show mercy. I mean, she shows mercy at first, but then if you do something that really harms her people, she won't show mercy. That's kind of the attitude I feel like she has, or what type of personality she has in this series. Now, I could be wrong, but that's like kind of my impression of her that I get when I see these panels with her. So yeah, overall, the chapter of Berserk, it was a very good chapter. I'm kind of sad, as I said, that it's, you know, the final chapter for a while until 2017. But, you know, just like ReZero, all good things must come to an end for at least a while. And so I guess the wait begins for the next chapter. Sucks that we're left on such a colossal cliffhanger with, you know, getting to see the eclipse once again in Casca's mind. But, yeah, I mean, we have to wait for good quality content, so I'm willing to wait, and I think we all should respect that. I mean, hey, would we rather have shit content from Berserk, or would we rather wait like half a year for a very good chapter that blows us away? I personally, I'd rather take, you know, waiting for good chapters. So, that's my thoughts. Farewell, Berserk, for the time being. It's sad, but I must say my goodbyes for now. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.